offense for you, Kev. How did you feel the O-line played? How would you rate them?
Oh,
And tell me a little bit about what you saw as far as their ability.
hey, Jimmy was upright.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think the O-line looked a whole lot better than it did last year, and actually in recent years.
Hmm.
So shout out and hats off to the O-line. You know, running lanes, pass pro. It was the Lions. You know, but it was definitely good to see Jimmy not under rest too much.
Right.
You know,
Tell me a little
and
bit
they also,
about what you saw from the actual like X's and O's, how this offensive line performed and why they are performing better than last season and maybe even to 2019 season.
hey, well, first of all, when you got Trent Williams, dudes out the club at left tackle, bro. Did you see that boy out there, man? That's
Yeah, man.
crazy. It's almost
He was a bit.
unfair.
You're right.
I mean, but Thomason, Brunskill, Alex Mack is a huge upgrade at center. You saw that.
Yeah.
Brunskill, Malenci, he still has some work to do in pass pro. But run the game, he's one of the best. I mean, but as a group, as them gelling over this last off season, it's great to watch. I mean, because when Jimmy's upright and Jimmy's not rushed and flustered, he's at his best. You
Right.
know, so I was definitely pleased with the offense. I mean, offense in the whole. I mean, we was cooking. You know,
Right.
I mean, we was almost other than that first fumble we had, we pretty much had our way. You know,
Right.
it was just like, yo, now this offense I want to see.
Now, tell me, I know when we were talking about the offensive line in a previous show, maybe a month ago, one of the things that you really brought up that I thought was interesting was in the run game, not only doing the outside zone reads, but also now with Alex Mack being able to do the inside zone reads. How much of that did you actually see? And moving forward, how much of that do you plan on seeing?
First of all, you know, shout out to and prayers up to Mostert, man. You know, Mostert being
Right.
hurt. You know, and both his two runs, one of them was more of a, I think they're both tosses actually. You
Yeah.
know, outside toss. The first one outside toss. The second one was like a toss, but he ran in between the tackles. I mean, so it's there. The inside zone is there as well. You know, and then Mitchell came in and just did his thing.
He
You know,
ate.
and shout out to my guy, share my same last name. You know how Mitchell do. You know, so but no, man, it's only going to get better, man. It really is, and I know losing most of it hurt. You know, players up to him with some speedy recovery, but I'm pretty comfortable with once he's back, Jeff Wilson Jr. and now with Mitchell in there and Sermon once he's up and Hasty. I like that trio, man. I mean, so
Right.
this running game should still succeed.
We
I mean,
lose a little bit
while
of
Mitchell,
speed. We lose a little
I
bit of
mean,
speed,
yeah,
obviously, but Mitchell still is very explosive. Sermon
he
can
run
still
forward
play that.
three.
Yeah, man. And he showed it, like, I mean, with his, the 30-yard touchdown or whatever, being able to kind of like be elusive and whatnot. And then I think Sermon is actually going to be able to be a little bit better at the goal line than Mitchell was, to be that big back that could go out there and maybe get the 1 yard, the 2 yard, plays that we need. So I think that combination of the rookies can really be a formidable, formidable running back core. How good do you think this running back core could be? Because I think initially with Mostert there, we thought this could be a top 3 rushing attack. Do you still have those same expectations now that Mostert's out?
After seeing what Mitchell did versus the Lions on Sunday, yeah, I'm still high on this running game. And actually, I'm gonna tell you an under the radar signing that I think some people are overlooking, and I hate preceding anything we talk about as far as the Niners with this, but if healthy, I think Kerryon Johnson is going to be a great contributor if he gets pulled up. I mean,
Right.
he's big, he runs hard,
Yeah.
decent speed. I mean, so he's almost like a Jeff Wilson Jr. to a degree. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he's faster than people think too. Jeff Wilson Jr.
Right.
He isn't a burner, but the boy can move. So I still do like our running back room.
Yeah. The only thing with Jeff Wilson is we don't know what he's going to look like after the injury, right?
Right.
So I mean, obviously, if he could be anything close to what he was previous to the injury, now that running back room is super stacked. But we shall see. And yes, prayers up to Raheem Mostert. His wife came out and said that some people are attacking him and death threats and stuff like that. Look, I don't think it's anybody that watches this show or any of our fan base, but please, if it is
Nah,
you,
man.
stop, man. Like, that's a human being. He's going through probably the most devastating thing that's been going on in his life as far as his career. To make that type of decision, I hope he comes back. This was a contract year for him, so it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
He'll probably come. Hopefully, he comes back to the 49ers. They'll probably get, a family-friendly deal, and he could show out, ball out next year, hopefully, and be the guy that we all know he could be.
I wouldn't write him off at all, but just to touch back on the BS with the death threats and all that. First of all, those aren't fans; those are freaking lunatics.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mental health is real. You see what I'm saying? So, and those are lunatics. And how do you have death threats to somebody? You think he wanted to get hurt, and because he lost him in fantasy? Look,
right.
I said this in somebody else's chat the other day. Don't let fantasy football get your real life ass whooped.
Yo, hey, clip that, quote that. Big Silverado Kev, man. That is big fact. Hey, that's man. Equifax, man. Equifax right there.
Come on, bro. Like, don't. Ooh, I'm not even on the team, and it pissed me off. What? Like,
yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah,
let me calm down. You know what I'm saying? Let me.
Melissa, anyway, thoughts on Lenore and who should play opposite him? We're gonna get into that, Melissa. Thanks for the segue.
Hey, actually, she had a question, man. She had a question that I really want to. Yeah, she said before you guys go, right? Yes.
Do we see improved run calls for Lance? You did kind of touch on that a little bit in the beginning, but go off a little bit more specifically to this question.
Yes, Izzy, I'm wearing a Bowman jersey. But no, to answer your question right here, Izzy, improved run calls. I don't want to see run calls only for Lance, period, Izzy, to be honest. At least give him RPO so he has an option, a run pass option. So, and again, teams expect Lance to run when he gets in there. So why give them what they want? If they see Lance come in there, oh, okay, they check. They checking the coverages. They checking the formation. Now they got 9 in the box. Okay, give them what they want by the look of it. Put that thing out, hit somebody over the top. Debo, Sherfield, Kittle, somebody. Hell, you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so, man, look, man, don't just put them in there like a crash dummy and just have them getting beat up, because you just want to show the world, oh, well, I put them in there. See, now I'm questioning the Shanahan's, motive here. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. There was a quote that Jimmy talked about, Trey throwing the touchdown, and he kind of alluded to the fact that, that did kind of suck for him because he obviously drove the team down and he didn't get a chance to finish off the drive. And then he basically talked about how he knows the guys in the locker room have his back and they know that he's, what he's capable of, so on and so forth. So I talked about, keeping Jimmy on the team is going to create like a little bit of a rift in the locker room. And it seems like there might be some of that kind of bubbling. I mean, it's not anywhere near to where it's a problem at this point, but I think that Shanahan does have a problem on his hand bringing in, Trey every now and then, especially if Jimmy is playing the way he was playing against Detroit. It's kind of a little bit, I think some players might be able to perceive it as a little bit disrespectful because Jimmy was doing a fine job getting first downs, first and longs, things like that. So why not just let him cook and then, to take away an opportunity for him to throw a touchdown, that's a big deal as well. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And hopefully it's not a dramatic situation. Jimmy's been all class this whole time, but if he's cooking,
most definitely,
I could understand. But if he's cooking, I could understand. Look at what else do I need to do? You know what I mean? I went through this whole offseason. You basically flirted with every quarterback that was available. You drafted somebody to be my replacement. He couldn't beat me out in training camp. I'm playing extremely well, and you're still taking the ball out of my hand when it comes to, down at the 5-yard line. I'd be really pissed off if I was Jimmy G as well. Like, there's only so much class before it's disrespect. You know what I mean? And I feel like maybe it's starting to border on that line. If he was struggling and he couldn't throw the ball the way he was throwing, I understand. But man, I was tweeting the whole time, man, let Jimmy cook. He was playing really well in my eyes.
Let me answer this as it's real talk all day.
Uh-huh.
So let me answer this as delicately as possible while being real simultaneously.
Right.
Um, in the Raiders game, I think it was it was the Raiders game, I believe, when Jimmy ran there for that touchdown and he tried to commit suicide when he put his head down. And,
Yeah.
okay. So when you get down to the red zone, as you know, the field shrinks and the playbook shrinks, right?
Right.
Kudos to Jimmy for that scramble he had versus the Raiders in preseason where he got in the end zone. But my thing is, and I'm gonna kind of talk backwards here. You asked me, even though the field shrinks and your playbook shrinks within the red zone, especially when you within the 5 or so, with like a Trey Lance type quarterback, Trey Lance, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Pat Mahomes, all those type of guys, the playbook is shrink because they can do so much with their legs. And so
Right.
my thing is, and I wrote into one of my articles with Sports Illustrated, and Grant, I said, Jimmy's scrambling ability, he has that in case of emergency break glass sign on his legs.
Yeah.
And that was an emergency. He broke it, and all was well. But my thing is, when you're that close to the end zone, you want to give yourself as many options as possible. So I have no problem with Trey coming in that close to the end zone and getting the NFL reps, getting the NFL experience, getting the live bullets thrown at him. Now, Jim has been a constant professional this whole time, so I don't see him being any different at this point in time. And we scored, when Trey came in. But my thing is, if I'm Kyle, I'm sitting the whole team down, the whole organization. Like, look, guys, you see, we got 2 capable quarterbacks. Yeah, we pretty much gave the farm up to bring Trey in here, and and for rightly so, because he's a great talent. But I'm going to use both these guys. So I need you to support one of them the way you support the other, and support my decisions, and to understand I want to see us win. I want to see us succeed. So when that time does come, and think about it, if Trey comes to the sideline for a couple of plays, get a breather, or Jimmy comes to the sideline and get a breather, it's just that. Hey, what you see out there? What you got for me? So I wouldn't see it as you take me out of rhythm. I mean, especially sometimes if the play doesn't go as planned, you like, okay, you know what? Consider it a timeout to a degree without using a timeout.
Right.
And trust me, Sunil, I see what you're saying as far as Jimmy was cooking and everything. I do. But let's just be honest. When Jimmy's in the game, particular certain defenses know what he can and can't do. His limitations dictate the coverage. His limitations dictate the front. His limitations dictate the scheme on defense.
Right.
Trey comes in. Now you got to consider, okay, they can really do anything. And like I said in the past show, if you had Jimmy as a Tecmo Bowl playbook where you got 4 plays, Trey is a Madden playbook where you got a plethora of plays.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's all about options.
Yeah. And I guess depending on the flow of the game and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure Kyle will get better at when he brings him in and so on and so forth. Will a fool Kyle needs to put Lance in there to throw the ball instead of running, since people say he needs to develop in the pocket. That's exactly what Kev's been saying. Absolutely, Will. We both agree with you. Make it more dynamic. Give us more options. All right. So